Hello, and welcome to this video. Today I am talking about the ever so sought after Five Nights at Freddy's movie that just came out the 27th of October. And you best believe that I was there opening day, okay? I had to be. I have been waiting, as I know many of you guys probably have also waited for this movie for about 9 years. And in today's video I am talking about my impressions, and I will just say huge, enormous, gigantinormous spoiler warning. I will definitely not hold back when it comes to specifics and plot points and whatever of the movie, so you have been warned. If you have not yet watched it, or you're not planning to watch it, or you are planning to watch it but you don't want spoilers, but you do and you don't, whatever. You know what to do if you don't want spoilers. Click out. But if you don't mind, hello. Welcome to my review. Okay, so first off, I want to get out of the way that of course it is extremely difficult to satisfy every single audience that you might have when it comes to making a huge movie like this. This has been anticipated for years and it almost could only disappoint in a way. I know that sounds very negative, but let me explain. I knew that it would be both a movie for the fans, but also a movie that would have to please people who like to just go and watch horror movies. And you know, do I think it did that very successfully? Maybe not. Because there are a lot of things that really just appease to the fandom, and it makes sense that it's there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as a fan myself. But before going into all the negatives, or the cons, if you will, of the movie, I will be talking about what I absolutely loved and what was pleasantly surprising to me, and so on and so forth. So first of all, I think that the casting of the actors and actresses were amazing. They did really good, and I think especially Matthew Lillard, I was really anticipating to be a great actor. Sadly, we did not see too much of him, but I will be coming back to his performance in a little bit. I think Josh did great as Michael. He was very convincingly miserable. I think he did really, really good, and his whole dream sequence that he can tell, like a very weird form of lucid dreaming, how his little brother Garrett disappeared, I thought was really interesting and a cool way to like make him uncover the mysteries of Freddys, if you will. I think that Abby was also casted really well. Like, I think she did good. I think that Vanessa, because it's Vanessa who's in there, was fine. She was fine. Yeah, I'm actually sort of jumping into the negatives now in my mind, so let me just continue on the positive path first, okay? The animatronics were gorgeous. It was so cool to see them. It just really was. I mean, I had never thought that they would do that good of a job. And you guys who were complaining about the red eyes, was it even a problem? I think it featured like 3 seconds of the movie with those red eyes. It really was not a theme. Like, it wasn't a thing that was really present. So I think we got our wish with that if we really didn't want the red eyes, huh? But they were gorgeous. I think Foxy especially I enjoyed. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of his like withering and the funny part that he said dum 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 like he does in the game, and he ran down the hallway just tearing the security guards apart and stuff like that, which I really, really enjoyed. It was so good. I also thought it was a great depiction of the animatronics as children, because that's something that I feel like you can easily forget. They are low-key, high-key, indeed children, and it's the children's souls that are inside these suits. So it's really interesting to see them being kiddish, and I thought it was not very horror movie-like, but I thought it was adorable to see Abby draw Bonnie like a little heart thing, and he was so happy. It was definitely not on my bingo card that we would see our main protagonists making a damn fort with the animatronics, and if you think I am joking, I am not. That happens, go watch it, okay? It was really like a subversion of my expectations, but honestly not in a bad way. I thought it was a funny touch, weird, did not expect it, maybe not very horror movie like, but I liked it for what it was worth. And then I also liked the Easter eggs. So there were a few Easter eggs. We saw a "It's me" on a very dusty, like, a mirror, which was really cool because we all know it's me, right? I also, honestly, low-key, I'm getting ahead of myself, but my favorite part of the movie, call me stupid, was definitely the balloon boy jump scares, if you will, because it's such a known thing in the fandom that Balloon Boy is low-key, high-key, the most hated animatronic in the entire franchise. I think he's definitely up there in people's at least like top 3 of I despise this guy, I despise him, he's the worst. So it was interesting that he was like the joke, the butt of the joke, as he also is in the franchise, really. Everybody's like, ugh, Balloon Boy, I can't stand him. So that was really, really funny. And I have to say, he wasn't there in the form of an animatronic. He was, however, there in the form of a little trinket, like a figurine, if you will. That almost made it funnier, because he wasn't like menacing or big or anything. He just was, and it was really funny. And of course, when I talk Easter eggs, I also have to mention the YouTubers that were featured, because I was pleasantly surprised to see MatPat there. I think nobody knew, or people suspected it. I think he actually said that he wasn't going to be. I saw like a little bit of his video where he was like, "Oh, I've been lying to you guys, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you that I was in the movie, but I was." It was so funny because when they sat at the diner, I didn't even really recognize who it was before I saw who it was, and I just turned to my friend Kia and like, that's MatPat, oh my god, hello? And I didn't think it was that jarring, even though it is of course a, like, in a sense, a fourth wall break that he was there because he's so ingrained in the like FNAF culture, but I didn't think it was jarring. I actually just thought it was pleasant, and I was like, hi, oh my god, MatPat, that's so funny. And he also, very key, did not overstate his welcome at all to me. I mean, he was just a little bit of a goofy waiter, and that was it. Like, he did not overstate his welcome. He did not come back or anything. He just minded his business after that, and I thought that was a great way to pay homage to the fandom and all the work that he's done with FNAF over the years, and probably will continue to do so. So yeah, that was really good to see. And now Corey was also there, which I thoroughly enjoyed. We knew he was gonna be there. He was there in the teaser or the trailer, I believe. Yeah, we knew he was gonna be there anyway, and I too didn't think that he overstated his welcome either. It was really funny to see him as a taxi driver. I think he did great. Like, I really do think he did great. Not like it was very obvious that he's a YouTuber, and like, I don't know, if you didn't know, it didn't matter. He was still funny and charismatic, so if you knew, you knew, and if you didn't, it was also fine. And I have to say that the scenery what do you call it, like the set was amazing. Like, I believed that Freddys was real. It was fine. Actually, it was beyond fine. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous and immersive. I thought that it was like, yeah, I'm there. It makes sense. This is the layout. We have never really seen something like that other than like the Gary's mod stuff where you can run around, and I guess Security Breach, but that was vastly different from the original stuff, or the original canon of Five Nights at Freddy's with just our main 4, really. But yeah, those are some of the positives that I saw, and I thought it was overall just a fun movie for that. And I also loved, just, it warmed my little FNAF heart, and it warmed my little FNAF heart to hear the Living Tombstones as Five Nights at Freddy's that we all know and we all love to make fun of, but it's a banger. It's a classic. It couldn't have been any different. I thought it was amazing that it was there at the end credits. So now I am going to get into huge spoiler territory, because I have some qualms and questions about the new canon, if you will, or the movie's canon anyway. Of course, it doesn't overwrite any of the games' canon, but still, let me get into it. So, my biggest problem, and I thought it was so odd, I don't know why they did this, was making Vanessa William Afton's daughter. Yeah, I know, right? I don't know if I'm missing something here, but I thought that was odd AF. Especially because one of my favorite parts of the FNAF franchise is the dysfunctional Afton family. I for sure thought that when William Afton, who I think his cover-up name was Steve something, read that his name was Mike Schmidt, he was like, hold up, that's my estranged son, or something like that, so that the canon would still somewhat stay that we had Elizabeth, who I thought was like Abby. You know, I thought Abby was supposed to represent Elizabeth. And then Garrett, his younger brother who goes missing, was supposed to represent the crying child. And I thought for sure that. I was like, okay, so that makes sense. We still have the three, just in a different sense, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be one-to-one. But I thought it really like irked me, and I thought it was weird that like Vanessa was then his daughter. I don't know how I liked that. As a FNAF veteran, if you will, I didn't really enjoy that much. I thought it was a weird choice. I don't know. I don't feel like Mike even had to be his son. It's just the way that like it's so almost undeserved that Vanessa was his daughter, because who even is Vanessa in the normal game canon, right? Like, she's his accomplice, Vanny, right? Or am I getting some lore wrong? I must say I'm not the biggest like security breach girly, so therefore I also think I was not so happy about Vanessa's presence at all, because like I don't know how much it made sense plot-wise. I know that Vanessa is like a meme, like, Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown, like all that stuff, so I think that might have contributed a little bit to why she was included the way she was. It's not that I think it ruins the movie, it just makes me have a lot of questions to when it comes to the canon part of the whole thing. Coming back to Matthew Lillard as Springtrap, it was super awesome to see his death. Like with the spring locks just like burrowing into his skin. It was really like disturbing and really good to see that they added that, I think. And the animatronics just like dragging him off was one of my positives as well, going back to that. I really thought it was good. But if I have to put a finger on Matthew Lillard's performance as Springtrap, I guess, or William Afton, all of the above, I did not like his delivery of "I always come back" at all. I thought it kind of felt like, couldn't you have taken another take? Like, I don't know. I know I'm sounding very complainy, and it's definitely a nitpicky thing to say, but I just thought he like threw it out. Like, he's just like, "I always come back." Like, I don't know, you'll have to see the scene to like believe me, or maybe you don't see it the way I do, but it just felt like such a throwaway line, and it's such a huge line. Like, it's so huge within like the fandom, so I thought that was a bit of a miss, but it still had the impact, but you could have gone a little harder. And of course you can't say it the way that he says it, because it's obviously a new interpretation of what William says or does or whatever, right? So I don't think it's bad in that regard. But it also makes me question, because we have Golden Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. But Golden Freddy is also a little bit interesting, because how does he like teleport out to get Abby and all that stuff? I think it's a bit unexplained, which is fine, I guess. And I know that reviewers have really ripped into the movie, and I kind of get it, because if you have no background knowledge of what Five Nights at Freddy's even is, then you would probably be like, what the F is this? Like, what are they doing? It's so like weird and rushed, maybe even. And there's not too many scares. I must admit, it was not a very scary movie, which I understand, because we would have to be naive to think that there's not like a audience that is younger, so therefore I think it was appropriate, the amount of horror that was appropriate. One of my other problems, however, was, or not a problem, just a funny choice. You know how the cupcake is not really like a main character on its own, but I feel like the cupcake was the star of this film. Like, the cupcake did so many attacks, so much screen time for the cupcake, and even like a little, I think, Easter egg when they are in to like ravage the place, like the guy and his guys. Wow, I'm explaining this horribly. Like, when they try to trash the Freddy's, the restaurant, and one of the guys is called Carl. Isn't that like a little Easter egg to the fact that the fandom called the cupcake Carl? And it's the cupcake who like totally like bites his face off or whatever. And then one of the guys is like, "Carl?" ? You know, and that's a little funny, because like, is that Carl the cupcake? You know, and maybe that's just me reading too much into it. Maybe that wasn't even thought of, but I thought that was really funny. But kind of interesting how much screen time and power, I guess you could say, the cupcake had, because we almost saw nothing of Freddy other than him like biting the babysitter in half. Spoiler. I mean, you know this is spoiler, I did say that already. But that was really interesting. It really was. I feel like I maybe saw a little too little of the animatronics and Freddy's in general, because there was a lot of focus on their home life, like Mike and Abby's home life with their crazy aunt, and I think I did not need as much of that. But I mean, this is also just like nitpicky to like picking it apart and making it perfect, so to speak. It's fine. It made sense that we also needed some story and of course emotional like growth. But my biggest qualms are definitely with Vanessa's character just in general, because I would like for her to just be what she's presented as in the beginning, and then I thought her character would work totally fine, because it was honestly be kind of cool for the movie not even to mention the fact that Michael is indeed William's dad. Like, it would be really, really awesome. I don't know. Because then there would be this sort of mystery and stuff like, I know something you don't. I know something you will never know. Whatever. Because Mike had this strong connection to Freddy's without knowing what it really is. And I think that's really, really, really interesting, I must say. The thing with Vanessa is that I feel like they could have kept her being like, I know what happened here back in the day, but I also had so many great childhood memories from this place that I can't quite seem to let go. And I know it's very like mysterious and spooky and also quite suspicious that I know these things, but I don't dismiss this place or cancel it or whatever you want to say. That's kind of how she's presented in the beginning, that it's like she had this connection because she really loved it there despite knowing what had gone on. So she's complicit, you know, like she has good feelings towards Freddy's but also horrible feelings because she knows what went down. But then we figure out that she's complicit because of her father. And I just think it's unnecessary to change that canon that much. But I think it might be to appease the Security Breach fans in a way, like, that they wanted Vanessa there. And I mean, she could be there. Like I just said, I think she would be better off as just someone who was complicit in loving Freddy's and understanding that horrible stuff went down. Because it was just so jarring when, like, he stabs her in the end and she's like, Dad! I don't know, I just didn't like that very much, because it's like so underserved in the real canon. It's just not a thing in the slightest. Unless I am missing something, then call me a terrible FNAF fan, because I did not. She's not, and she never was. And I thought that was an interesting choice, a choice that I do not very much approve of. Have I made myself clear? I think I have. Sorry to people who really like that twist. I did not really like it. I thought it was quite odd. Now, in terms of scariness or scares, like horror movie wise, it was not a very scary movie. There were moments that were jarring and very uncomfortable, but I think that most people could watch it, and I think the rating 15 is okay. Yeah, sure, we could say that, but I think younger children could watch it as well. Maybe just be prepared that there are some scenes that are like when, as I said before, Freddy like chomps the babysitter in half. That's a little uncomfortable, like maybe a little too gory for some. And when you just see the dismantled bodies of the bodies that has been dismantled, wow, what a great sentence. It's also a little much maybe, but I also like horror movies in general. Like, I really like psychological horror movies. I honestly think that this movie like lived up to expectations for me, other than the fact that I think some weird canon changing choices were made. But other than that, I honestly can't say that I hated it. I know I've just been very negative and shitting on it in regards of its choices compared with the Vanessa stuff and all that. There are also other like little plot points that I thought were kind of odd. Like, it was just really odd that, for example, with Michael's dreaming, he would get hurt in real life when the kids would attack him in the dream. And I just asked Kian, does that mean that like Bonnie, Foxy, Chica, Freddy just gets in the security office and like slashes him while he's asleep and then just dips? Because it makes no sense if that was not it, because yeah, he has the connection of like real life with his dream, but like he can't get hurt while he's in the dream and then also be hurt in real life unless it happens to him in real life as well. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I thought that was a bit odd. I was like, okay, they just went in there, slashed him and left, right? That must be it, right? Like, I guess so. Another great thing though was sort of the little homage to Phone Guy. It was really funny that William called him and was like, he didn't say hello, but he sure said some stuff that was like, okay, that's totally Phone Guy. So shout out to that. That was really funny. I liked it. I'm sorry if there's little to no structure in this video, but I just have so many thoughts. Like, I watched it a few days ago, as you can tell. I'm actually also watching it again on Tuesday, because of course I jokingly said that I would watch it 5 times because Five Nights at Freddy's, you know. But I will also say to the people making those memes of like me walking out of the cinema because Freddy just said, "Together we are the FNAF" and all that, there was no scene like that, I would argue. There was no scene like that. Thank God. Low-key wish there was. It would have been a little bit funny. Yeah, the animatronics were great. They looked amazing, and the facial expressions and stuff were made amazingly. I loved the set. I really did. Like with the security office with the screens and everything. We had the fan. We had the soda on the table and all of that. And we saw merch at the merch corner. It was just so awesome to go back to 2014 for a moment and appease my little girl heart, teenage heart, I guess, and just watch the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I think it was good fun, and I would recommend to old people to go see it, even if you just played it once in 6th grade and was like, oh, that's a bit of a throwback, kind of like Slender Man or something like that. I don't know, I think it's, for what it's worth, it was a nice little movie. Is it the best movie I've ever seen in my life? No, but very few movies are, you know what I mean? And it's, of course, subjective. But my overall rating on the movie, I think, would have to be like a 7 out of 10. Because I liked so many things about it, and it's just as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I did not like the canon changes as much, and that's what's like really dragging it down for me. But not in a bad way. I'm not disappointed. I am really not. Just the canon changes were just odd to me. It's just weird. Like, it's a little bit weird. Like, I don't get why they did that. But that's all the like bad things that I was like, oh, I don't like that. I think it's just a bit confusing to people who would like to get into FNAF, if any. And I understand why people just casually going to see a horror movie might be very confused, because it's like, oh, like what? Children inside killer robots? Why are they mad? And also the whole thing with Abby drawing the picture of Springtrap killing the kids, where previously there was a picture of Springtrap holding hands with the kids, was like, what? How does she have that much power? Like, Abby must have a 6th sense, and it's not really explained why she has this 6th sense, but she does, and I think that's cool. It makes sense without us having to like be spoon-fed, like, oh wait, does she have a 6th sense? Like, does she? Is that why she can do that? But yeah, it makes sense that she can, you know? Even though it doesn't make sense, but it does. We can make it make sense in any case. We can fill out the blanks on that one, I think. But yeah, that is my review, but not review, just like a little bit of my thoughts about the movie. And like I said, I give it a 7 out of 10. I liked it. I will be going to see it again, and I recommend you watch it if you have at all any interest in it, because the animatronics are a delight. It's fun, and enjoy the Easter eggs. Maybe you can see more than I did. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy spooky month, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!